Hi everyone and welcome back to another card making video. One of my most asked videos is the 1 kit 10 cards, and that's what I'm going to do today. So this is the SSS Stamp January card kit. That's the stamp set that is included, absolutely adorable, and you get a die and a die set that cuts out a Yeti and one of the balloons. There is also a matching die set that cuts out pretty much everything from this stamp set, so maybe you want to check that out. Now you will also get a 3D embossing folder full of snowflakes, so really easy to use with the theme of this card kit. At the moment of filming this video I'm fighting a cold, so I do have a little bit of a problem with my voice, but I hope you forgive me. So this is a card which is full of sentiments for you ready to cut them out. There is a little envelope. There is a Yeti. This is actually a sticker, but it is nice and thick, so you can use it as a topper on top of your cards, which is what I'm going to do. There is also a little one of those wobblers, and I'm planning to match those two together for one of my cards. And then you will find loads of 6x6 pattern papers, which I will be using a lot in this 1 kit 10 cards video. Now keep in mind these are front and back, however you do get 2 of each design, so you can use everything. Now let me show you quickly the cardstock, a really special one. You get 2 of those white ones, nice and thick, perfect for card bases. And you also get a green one and a red, and of course the lollipop. So let's start with the first card for today. And I will first play with this pattern paper that gives you 2 different designs. You can cut them out and use them as toppers on your card. I'm going to show you 2 designs using those so you can make the most out of your pattern paper. Let me first use my paper trimmer and separate everything. And I'm also using another pattern paper, the one with the snowflakes, which I'm going to cut down so that I can use it as my background. Now my card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, the standard card base. This one is 1/4 smaller, which means that when I stick it on top of my card base, you do get the lovely border all around. So now I do have the Yeti, and I'm going to use my scissors all around to make this look more interesting, to give it more movement. So now this is one of my go-to techniques when I want to use pattern paper. I like to cut out 2 rectangles of the exact same size and just stick one on top of the other on an angle. This way you end up getting a little bit of the other pattern paper popping from behind, making it more interesting. You can stamp and cut out some snowflakes to embellish your card if you like. Instead of cutting them and stamping them, I am going to use dies that I already have in my stash. I'm sure you all have some snowflake dies. I'm going to cut them out and just tag them all around my card. This is going to give an extra element of interest, and I absolutely love snowflakes on top of my cards. Now, one of the most difficult things of doing a 1 kit 10 cards video is doing the editing, because really 1 or 2 of those cards could definitely be a full video. However, on this type of videos I need to make sure that in 2 or 3 minutes I show you at least one of the cards, because otherwise the video is going to be super long. All the cards are usually quite easy to put together, and I try to restrict myself into using mainly what is included in the kit, apart from any basic supplies like glue or these snowflakes, for example. But you can definitely change the snowflakes that I'm using here with the snowflakes from the stamp. Now there is this sentiment that I want to use somehow, but it's super big. I'm going to cut off the word snow and use only "you are awesome", and I'm just going to stick them down to complete the look of my card. Now this is the first card of the 10 that I am creating today, so I'm taking my time, being very detailed, adding lots and lots of stuff on top of it. You will see that as the card progresses and I reach the 10th card, it's going to be super quick and easy. So if you noticed, I did add some pearls at the center of the snowflakes. Now I'm going to even add some splatters, and I'm using my new watercolor kit for that. This is from my own signature collection, Create Happiness, that I do in collaboration with Stamperia, and it is available at SSS Stamp. And this is probably my favorite of all the 10 cards that I made, but watch them all and let me know in the comments below which one of the 10 cards was your favorite. So now for the next card I'm going to stamp the Yeti, and there's also a little cup which I'm going to stamp as well. I will use my die to cut them out, and then it's time to do some coloring. Now for this video I will not spend a lot of time in blending or doing any crazy coloring techniques. Just one color for the face, the hands, and no blending at all. For the actual Yeti, I'm just going to use a light gray marker and just draw a line on one side. I will use this Yeti many times for many of the cards today, so this is the way I will be coloring him each and every time. Now, when you cut him out, you will find that the hands are open, so that means that it is an opportunity for you to give him anything you want him to hold. In my case, I'm using the cup, but there are lots of bits and pieces in the stamp set that you can use, so there is a little heart, there are the snowflakes, of course. So anyway, this is going to be my focal point, and you can see I have already created my card base just by using the piece of pattern paper that I cut out previously, and I masked it with another pattern paper, the black one with all those trees. So I'm just going to stick him there, and then there is no need for sentiment. It is already done since the sentiment is actually on top of the flags. That was a quick and easy card, but I think it looks fantastic. So let's move on to card number 3, and I will be using this lovely pattern paper. I'm going to match it with the red cardstock, and I did use foam tape at the back to have some dimension. Now for this one I want to use the sticker of the Yeti along with the wobbler, so I'm just going to peel off the backing, and you need to have the transparent one stuck onto your cardstock. And then I'm going to peel off the other area, the top one, and stick the Yeti on top of that. A lovely interactive card. I absolutely love the wobblers. So now all I need to do is to add a sentiment, and this is where you need to plan ahead. So here I decided to do white embossing. Just do white embossing before you stick all your elements to make your life easier. In any case, it just works fine for me. And keep in mind that these 10 card videos are not for the beginner card maker. This is where I use techniques taking into consideration that you all know how to do white embossing. I don't explain everything in detail. If you are new to card making, you need to make sure that you watch my step-by-step videos of 1 or 2 cards per video, because here I need to pack lots and lots of techniques in 10 cards, and I don't have the time to explain exactly what I'm doing. So anyway, detail white embossing powder here using my embossing ink, and now I'm going to heat set it. And I want to have a secondary sentiment, so I'm going to cut out one of those included to complete my card. Again, a really fun and interactive card, but really quick and easy to put together. And let's move on to card number 4. For this one I'm going to start with stamping, and I will stamp this Yeti, and I am going to create kind of a little scene, a winter scene, where I have the Yeti going all the way down the slope. So I just want to make sure where everything is going to go. I'm going to do the stamping first of the sentiment up at the corner, and I'm going for white embossing with that. So now for the snow slope, you can use some white cardstock and just use your scissors to cut out a slope, or if you have any of those dies or anything similar, you can definitely use that. But don't worry if you don't have them, just your scissors will do the trick. Or even you can just tear off some paper with your fingers. It's going to look great as well. So here are some close-up photos. You see I didn't do anything crazy with coloring, and I did add some white splatters to finish it off. And let's move on to card number 5, and for this one I'm going for an old-time favorite technique where I do paper piecing. So I'm going to stamp the mountains on this pattern paper, and I'm going to cut out a part of it. I'm just going to stamp, make sure that I have a good and defined black line so that I know exactly where I'm supposed to cut out. I will cut out only the bottom part of the mountains without the snow at the top. It's not that difficult to fuzzy cut those, just very simple lines, and then I'm going to stamp the mountain one more time, as you can see, cut it out, and this way I can stick the paper on top of the base. So by sticking it down, I end up having a really fun mountain with lots of texture. And this is going to be my focal point. I used to do this technique back in the day a lot. I absolutely loved playing with pattern papers and mix them and match them on stamps. So anyway, that's the design that I'm going for. I do have another one of those snow slopes at the bottom that I cut out while I was doing the previous card. So all I have to do now is to put the card together. As you can see, I'm working on top of another one of those pattern papers with the snow on top. And of course I'm using foam square at the back so that I can, foam tape at the back so that I can have some dimension. And notice that up at the top I didn't add any of that foam tape so that I can easily slide behind the mountain. Then all I need to do is to stick that on top of my card base. You can add some splatters if you like, you can add some gems here and there, you can even add some of those elements from the stamp set like the snowman or the Yetis to make it even more fun. However, for this card design I don't want to add any of these guys. Instead I'm going to keep it clean and simple. I'm just going to add the sentiment up at the top. I'm going to embellish it by adding some gems just here and there instead of snow. And then to finish it off and add a touch of color, I'm going to add a little heart again from the same stamp set up at the top of one of the mountains. I think it adds such a cute element and it really makes the card come together somehow. And moving on to the next card, for this one I am going to put together a little scene again with a snowman and lots of trees. You see I have already stamped all the trees that I need and I'm coloring them with shades of blue. Again, I'm not going to do any crazy coloring here, just the main color all over the place, and just under where the shadows are I'm just going to draw a line. Really quick and easy, and I will repeat the same thing for all the trees. Again, for the snowman I did very basic coloring and I'm going to give him mittens, so I did cut them out and color them again, and you can see I'm going for a kind of a monochromatic look and feel for this card as well. So even the trees are shades of blue as well as the mittens. Now I forgot to color his nose, so here I am again coloring the nose. I was going only for a blue with a touch of red on the heart, but for his nose I just had to not follow the plan and go with orange. So I'm building everything on a rectangle pattern paper that I cut out. Again, I added a slope at the bottom and just placing everything where I feel it should go. Once I'm happy with the placement, I'm going to commit and stick everything down. And then I grabbed the 3D embossing folder. I'm going to lightly mist the white panel that I have here. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 by the way. I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine and here is the outcome. This is going to be the background where I'm going to stick the panel that I have created. So just stick the whole thing on top of a card base and the card is ready. Absolutely adorable. And the stamp set gives you lots of designs to dress up the Yetis as well as the snow. Now let's make a shaker card. Usually out of the 10 cards I make at least one shaker card and at least one window card. So this is the shaker card for today. I'm going to cut out a square. The square is 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 and I did that because I do have some of those waffle flower pockets that I can wrap around to create my shaker element, but you definitely don't need those. If you have any type of acetate, you can just wrap it around. You don't really need to have a pre-scored one. However, it is really handy. And I'm just going to add some double-sided tape around the flaps. And I believe these are older pockets, shaker pockets that I had in my stash. I believe that the new ones come already with double-sided tape. But in any case, I have to use up first what I have in my stash. So I'm just going to peel off 3 of the flaps. I'm going to place the square in the middle and then just fold them to make sure that they hold that paper down. And then I'm going to leave the top open so that I can add inside some confetti. Now just let me use my bone folder to make sure that this is nicely stuck there. And then for the confetti, I was debating on which one of those should I use. I ended up using both of them because I find them really adorable. So a couple of scoops from the silver stars and I think a scoop from those sequins. And these are iridescent ones, so I like how they give lots of color in the mix. Now all I have to do is to just peel off the flap and stick it back in. Now the fun part about these type of shaker elements is that you can add lots and lots of things inside and they still can move freely up and down. So here it is, ready to go. This is going to be the main element on top of my card, an interactive shaker card, but I need to add something extra on top of it. For that I decided to go with one of the Yetis and I'm going to give him one of the hearts from the stamp set to hold. I find him adorable. So I'm going to stick him down and then the only thing left to do is to add a sentiment. Again, do the sentiment before sticking all the dimensional elements because this step can be really hard. Anyway, it did work for me just because I had the stamping platform, but it's always nice to plan ahead. I don't do it when I create the 10 cards, but in any case, it worked just fine. So here are some close-up photos on this card and we have 3 more to go. So let's create card number 8 now. For this one I'm going for the window card, so I'm starting with this pattern paper. I'm going to place one of my circle dies on top and cut it out. Then I need something at the back, so I'm just going to cut out from the other pattern paper a little square, which is going to fit just at the back. This is not going to be a shaker card, but you can definitely turn it into one if you use acetate in between the layers. So I need to have a little bit of dimension, that's why I'm using foam squares. I'm going to place my top panel on top of that little square and the whole thing goes on top of a white card base. Again, that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have already stamped and cut out my little snowman as well as one of the balloons. And again, I need to let you know that for this stamp set there is a matching die set. It's not included in the kit. In the kit you only get a couple of dies, one for the balloon and one for one of the Yetis. But if you don't like fuzzy cutting, maybe it's worth checking that out and add it in your basket. Now I'm going to give him a balloon to hold and then all that's left to do is to add a sentiment. Now this is where I realized that I forgot something that I was planning to do. So you see here I have on the top right corner 2 dies, 2 circle dies, and I was planning to create a ring, to die cut a ring, so that I can place it around my window. I completely forgot about it, but I'm going to skip. Now this is where I realize it. I'm going to skip that step, but maybe you want to do it. It's going to define that window and make it look more finished. It's going to look even better. Anyway, I will forget about it, and I'm just going to move on to add the sentiment. For this I'm going for a happy birthday card. So I cut this sentiment out and you can see here I embellished the card a little bit more by adding some red gems on the buttons on top of the balloon. And we are almost done. Card number 9. Again, the Yeti is going to be the focal point. And this time I want to make the Yeti look ginormous and amazing. So I'm going to give him a treat to hold. I'm going to white emboss it, so I'm stamping that with embossing ink and apply white embossing powder. I'm gonna heat set it and cut it out. And before I put everything together, I'm going to do a little bit of work on my background. So I have a panel here from the green cardstock that was included in the kit, and that's the same cardstock that I used to cut out the tree, by the way. And I'm going to do some stamping. I'm using white pigmenting, and I'm going to stamp one of the snowflakes that is included in the stamp set that has a little heart at the center. I find it super adorable. Completely randomly here and there just to make the background look more interesting, and then I can put everything together on top. I did use foam squares behind that black panel that I stuck on top, and now I'm trying to find out what's the best way to give him that tree. And I find it super adorable. I think that the moment he's holding the tree, he looks ginormous. Anyway, I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to add some foam squares at the back and stick it there. And finally, the sentiment, again from the included stamp set, but I did use dies that I had to create that banner from my stash. And it's always nice to bring in any sentiment dies that you have for those cards. Again, on this card I did add a lot of splattering. It's not important to do it if you don't like it, I just love the look. And here are some close-up photos on card number 9. And it's time for the last card for today, where I'm going to show you one of my go-to methods when I play with pattern paper to create quick and simple cards. If you follow my videos, you have already seen this many times. It's where I like to play with double-sided paper and show the back as well by just folding the corner towards the front. It's one of my go-to techniques. I find that it always creates something interesting, and you end up taking into advantage both the sides of the pattern paper. So I'm going to place that on top of my card base, and this is going to be one of those peekaboo cards. So I do have one of the Yetis, and I'm going to stick him on that corner. I'm going to stick a couple of sentiments there. Again, they were included in the kit, and the card is finished. So here are some close-up photos on the last card, as well as on all the rest of the cards that I shared today. I hope that you had fun, that you got inspired. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which one of the 10 cards was your favorite. And as always, you will find links to everything I used in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.